Tree, the CPU, and all that crazy shit.
All right. So
we need to push record on these two guys. So we'll push them at the same time. Hauser, ready? Five. Oh. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Gotcha.
Cool.
So David, you started. You just asked. Let's talk about electronic generation.
Yeah, sure. You guys ready? Now that's our main camera if you want to talk to camera, right?
Okay.
Don't talk to that one. That one's going to be our cool zoom in cam. Or you can look at me, of course.
Cool.
So I'm here with Andrex today, and I'm super excited because we're talking about this exciting thing. I don't even know what to call it really, or what is it, but the name is electronic generation. How would you describe electronic generation?
Electronic generation is, it has a very broad meaning. Mm-hmm. It really defines everything, everyone, all of us. You know, in the last, from day one, ever since I got into music, I realized the more I got into music, the more fragmented it was. And what I realized is really it's all about, we're really all part, and especially nowadays, we're really all part of one thing.
Yeah.
People have been talking about singularity. They've been talking about, you know, one, and really it's, and this is how I actually got drawn to you because, you know, I heard your talks about spirituality and about unity. And that's what electronic generation is. Strangely, we are all connected through this new electronic era that started since the invention of the light bulb. And today, now we've got like social media and, you know, with Facebook and Instagram, we're all connected. So to summarize, electronic generation is all of that.
Well, didn't it start, I mean, you used to throw a night called Electronic. I used to DJ for it, actually. It was like almost a decade ago, believe it or not. And were you was that the theme at the beginning of that? Or what was kind of the whole part of Electronic when you started that?
No, I'm totally glad you brought that up. That was the beginning. So this kind of had roots from 10 years ago. This was something that I think, you know, I personally felt, I think you personally felt, the people that came to the you know, it was a weekly event.
Uh-huh.
You know, it was, you know, on the outside, it was branded electronic. It was a nightclub, it was an event, but really it represented a culture, and really it was kind of like, it represented a world culture.
Yeah.
And today, 10 years later, what I realize is, it's not just about music and an event and DJs and producers or even music lovers that feel the same way. It's about just a whole generation, the whole world. We all have some kind of commonality, and we all kind of feel, and it's deep within our soul.
Yeah.
And every time I hear you talk about it through your spirituality show, I connect with it. You may use different words, but we actually, I feel exactly the same way. However the things that you say, I totally connect with. That's why I was like, okay, this is bigger than just DJing or music or events. This is,
it's a wider scale of it all. It's like a common denominator, right? It's like, but it's expressed in different ways. Because I think right now, when that oneness you're talking about, it's all over the place. We're seeing it, whether it's in certain areas of politics, with like the Me Too movement for women right now, and kind of bringing oneness through there. We're seeing it, you know, in the spiritual communities now. Everybody's kind of rising up and trying to find, well, what is this whole thing about oneness? We're seeing it in the electronic community, especially through rave, you know, culture. More, I'd say you see it. You see kind of that, you know, love, oneness at a rave, but we're seeing it in every way, but it's expressed differently. So even though it is a oneness thing, you know, maybe girls who like to knit express it in that way, you know what I mean? But like there's people out there who love music, who love DJing, who love going to parties, love going to clubs, love being on their cell phones, love doing live streams, love, electronics. And that's something that I think you and I super connect on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so it's all of that. And more really. At first I thought it was a music thing, and then I realized after meeting, I've met like people from like the '60s, hippies that think the same way we do. I've met, and so have you. You've met like between the both of us, what I like about, and this is interesting because it's like we've known each other for over a decade, and the one common thing that has kept us together is music.
Yeah.
But when I look at what you've done, and I see a lot of similarities, even though we may be coming from different industries, but the message that you put out is exactly the same message that I put out. And a lot of people that don't have a voice actually share that message as well. We just happen to have a voice.
Yeah.
So I think that's what part of what Electronic Generation is about. We are that voice.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot of posts lately, especially for your event company 3X and your company 3X, saying we are 3X. You've kind of actually shifted towards more of a we are 3X,
exactly.
Like a we are message. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So that was a major, it was a shift internally. It was a shift right here in my heart. It went from me to we. And it was like a major fucking light switch came on. Like actually I took, this has been kind of slowly happening like mentally. And truth be said, it was kind of it was tough. It was hard because, I was used to thinking one way, and I thought this is the road to success. And there was a lot of confusion. But then what I realized was, well, hold on a second here. There's something about what I'm doing that I'm not happy with. And then once I started realizing, listen, I started just tapping into what it was that was missing. I realized that in order for me to be happy, everyone else has to be happy. We have to be happy together.
It's true.
And then it shifted from me to we, and I've never been happier. There's a lot more to talk about. It's a super broad subject, but the bottom line is, the message is love. Music is the messenger.
Yeah.
That's just a vehicle. And that, I think we all have some sort of message and some sort of gift. That's what Electronic Generation is. Each one of us, and you clearly have, a gift that has touched, countless numbers of people, and you've been doing it for, I don't even know how long, but it's clear that it's a God-given gift and passion, because I've known you for 10 years, and I've seen, I became a believer, put it that way.
Dang, I did something right. Well, I think the whole thing that you're saying, especially with to talk about we go back a long time. Basically, you've been a promoter and a DJ and run clubs. You've done it all in the club industry for like over a decade, where I was just a DJ, And so, it's like, I did a lot of like TV and a lot of, the spirituality thing. And so now it's like we're combining together all of your knowledge of the last 10 years of the whole electronic world, especially in the music culture part of it, and the dance scene, and the club scene, and the festival scene, and the bottle service scene, and the DJ scene, and all that stuff. And I'm combining with my DJ. I know my DJ stuff, but also, and I know the scene, just not as far as business goes. I know it more from like a, being involved the whole time. And I started as a promoter way back in the day, but I'm combining that with kind of I've been on camera a lot and video. And so it's a really interesting hybrid that we're doing right now. We're creating a little alien predator baby.
Well, tell and that's what makes this, so odd is awesome.
Yeah.
Especially when it's mature and manifested for over 10 years, like that, like how both of us are.
Yeah, it's not like we just met and we're just like, yeah, all right, let's go. There's a lot of that happens in life, and I've seen stuff work, but it's nice that we have 10 years of history because there's a lot of history.
That's just with us, but even with yourself as a DJ prior to me even booking you as a DJ 10 years ago, you were already...
I was experimenting back then with Ableton when it first came out and trying to DJ with it when people thought that was kind of crazy. I remember, or like with you, I remember it was like the Orange County scene was in a huge kind of desolate scene, right?
Totally.
And LA was where you had to go.
Yeah.
And you were part of the wave that created the Orange County dance music scene, So it's an interesting thing of different ways of, and even you and I talk about this all the time, we've changed our DJ styles over the 10 years to be more open to...
We've adapted.
Yeah, we've adapted to where...
We've grown, actually.
Yeah,
progressed.
Because a lot of people stay, and this is kind of what the new thing we're doing is going to be about, our conversations, and it's not like we're just doing a show or something. We're doing like a whole movement about a way of life and how to connect and talk about these things that we all love so much.
Right. But tell us more about the Leo King and how that connects your spirituality network, your spirituality side. How does that connect with your DJing? Because here's the thing, when I first met you, it was clear that you were a super passionate house DJ. Mm-hmm. You were extremely into the house movement. I remember you on Ableton, but you were one of those guys that, you had a clear identity. You knew exactly what, you knew your sound, and your approach to DJing and your performance was very organic. It was clear you were one of the first guys I knew that actually moved on stage prior to people started fist pumping and doing
acts.
Exactly, back flipping and helicopters move. You were already dancing and putting on a show prior to that becoming a trend. And now looking back, and even at that moment, I clearly I saw that you were connecting with your soul when you were playing live, and to see it evolve. Well, again, I don't know too much about how far the Leo Kings and your whole spirituality goes back, but tell us how that kind of...
Well, actually, it's the music that made me spiritual. Like, before doing this spiritual thing and doing astrology and creating my network and helping people out spiritually I was a raver. I'm like I'm like the real deal old school raver. I'll be real, eating ecstasy pills and going to raves. Like, that was me back in the early 2000s out of high school. Like, that's what I did. And so in that scene, I became spiritual. I used to be an asshole. And I still am an asshole. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I can be an asshole, but I was like not connected with the we. Does that make sense? Like, I was not connected with my heart. I was not connected with, like, it was if only I knew you. It was kind of like you were. I would connect with you, and then going to the rave scene made me go, wait, like, these people are cool, and I could open up to these people. And this is back when Rave Links was around, so it was like, whoa, I'm like connecting with this person on Rave Links. I'm gonna go meet them at a rave. Wow. This is even before MySpace. Rave Links. I mean, it's crazy, right? So it was the dance music scene that made me spiritual, and especially being a DJ, it was an expression of my soul, right?
Definitely.
It was like, so I played music that made me feel like, oh man, this is how I feel. So that's why I danced around and was going crazy, because that's how the music made me feel. And I remember people were making fun of me. People would make fun of me. And I was like, well, I'm just feeling the music, Now it's like kind of like a necessary thing that you have to do to be a DJ now. And I could tell the ones that are faking.
Totally.
Because it's like, this track, I don't know, I don't feel it, or something. You could tell they don't feel it. They're kind of just, I gotta do it, or whatever.
The funny thing is, we talked about this too. 90% of the crowd don't know the difference.
I know, yeah.
Because it's so, the dance music scene, EDM, is so huge now.
I know.
That, I mean, like, not gonna name any names, but somebody that doesn't have a legacy or that hasn't been around can, I mean, you could literally fabricate a DJ. They could go up there and do backflips and helicopter moves, and the crowd will go nuts. And just you and I and like,
and especially the clubs now have the air and the confetti and all that. Right. We didn't have that. That was it was like speakers and
that was it.
A DJ table and maybe
warehouse,
like an
like
old
this.
school, or like and a light, like 2 lights.
Totally.
And like that was a big deal. It was like whoa, or maybe a couple dancers. I remember when dancers came out, it was like whoa, man, this is a big deal. There's some dancers tonight. Go-go dancers.
Oh, that's
kind of it's not as big as it was. There was a moment when it kind of peaked. That was kind of a cool thing.
It's pretty gnarly.
I
now.
do like the go-go dancers. Man, I became spiritual from go-go dancers. But like to finish the question and to continue is like it was just the music that made me spiritual, and then eventually I got to a point in my DJ career, my music career, where I'm like, I'm so evolved from it spiritually that I need to start talking about my soul, and I combined it with my house music, and it's evolved now into more than just house music, but that's why I created spiritual dance music and doing live DJ sets every new and full moon, because the ancients used to, and actually BT gets credit for this. There's an old video, a DVD that he did, Circuitry Through Sound, I think is what it's called.
Right.
It's like from 2000, and he talks about how the old ancient cultures used to go around a fire and beat to the drum, right, and dance around it, and you need that in your soul, right? And they would do it on the new and the full moons, right, as like a ceremonial like release or expression. So I was like, why don't I create that now in life and do that with DJing and actually pick songs about where my mood's at during that time?
Totally. I love it.
So I kind of created my own little music horoscope.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing, because you're what's great is, and another quality that actually drew me to you. Now here's the thing, you are not the quote unquote cookie cutter DJ. Your approach, your style, from music to business, you do your own thing, and I respect that. There is a cookie cutter approach that the larger kind of entertainment scene, the festival scene, they adapt. We talked about this earlier when I came in, that agents and managers look for, and they look for it so they can easily turn around and sell an artist.
Right.
You've gone and done your own thing and built your own network, and you've been doing it for a long time, and I respect that and appreciate that, because I've done my own thing too, with Electronic, with Spectrum, with a lot of my own brands that I felt, like this is how I feel, this is how I envision, the scene. I want to put a message out there. I don't care, like about the money. I don't care what fucking. I don't like it. I felt like there were bullies around me, and I felt like people were trying to dictate the scene in the wrong way. Yeah. And you know what?
Which there are. I mean, it can be a very ugly scene or the best scene in the world, right?
You know what? If the message is pure, and if it comes from a place of love, real love, that doesn't have any type of, I do this, I get back something in return. If it comes from a real place of contribution, it's bliss, because you don't want anything back from it, because just giving is already receiving automatically. Right. And I think that I identified that with spiritual dance and what you were doing. You were just giving regardless. And it could be looked at as another way. You were contributing. You were just putting it out there. This is my message, that, whether it made money or not. And I know, and we've both been doing this together, that if we wanted to make money, there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of easier ways to make money than to, do what we do. But it was always, the payoff has always been for me, and I think
that feeling
exactly
at the end of the night when you go to sleep,
yeah.
and well, now because we are electronic generation, it's like that content you can post to show people to spread more positivity, right? Like that picture of you with a bunch of cool people that you love. It doesn't even have to be that you DJ'd that night, just that you were out with other people and yeah, we're having a great time, or little things. It's those little things that, but it takes you having to be in those businesses or moments or pushing the opposite direction of where everybody's going to have those experiences. I think a lot of people battle a little bit of depression and hurt in the world because a lot of people associate now like social media and stuff as like an ego thing, where I think it's more like, no, there's people out there who are living their lives and they're posting their lives out there, and it can be very sad if you're choosing to go the direction everybody's going, and at the end of the day, like, if it's not something you're really passionate about or really into, what are you gonna post? Like, it's great, the Christmas pictures are great with your family, or Thanksgiving, or your birthday, but then those days in between, and there's a lot of days in between.
Totally.
It could be very depressing when you're seeing people post every day, every week, every weekend, creative, passion, going out in the world, having fun, lots of people. I mean, it can get like, there's a little bit of a battle going on in that world too, So.
No, there is.
I know that's a controversial subject. People are going to think that I'm crazy, but that's how I look at it.
It's a great broad subject that, I think that's what makes, again, all this is all electronic generation, all of it. Every topic, everything that we've just discussed about is on a lot of people's minds. But let me ask you this. You and I, and this is crazy because I think 3 years ago I get you hit me up on Facebook.
No, it was
2 years ago.
It was 2012. So
yeah,
October 2012. So I don't know. It's 2018. So 5.5, almost 6 years ago. 5.5 years ago.
I could have sworn it feels like 2, but so it was either 10 or Sutra first, and you came with David.
I came with David, but it was with me and Tyler. Yeah.
Yeah, you and Tyler. We're not talking about the Paul Oakenfold show. We're talking about. Well, there was a gap.
Oh, there was a little gap there.
Yeah,
so maybe it was 2015. Oh yeah, it was Sutra. So it was 2015, like it was about fall of 2015.
Yeah, we'd stay in touch. We were on social media. We're friends. I didn't hear from you for a while. I think I would say at least 2-3 years, or maybe longer.
I had a difficult time. 2014 and 2013, I went through a lot of anxiety, and I still DJ'd little shows here and there, but I kind of backed out a little bit.
Yeah.
Focused on my spirituality and lived in Hollywood by myself and.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
I was going through a lot, and
But
anyway.
But literally, I get a phone call. I get a message on Facebook, and I'm like, hey, let me know where I can help, or if you got any shows. Blah, blah. We just shooting the shit, and I'm like, yeah, I got what are you doing like on this night, Sutra? Can you do it? Can you bring some people out? But would be great if you could help us out and book a table and bring some friends, blah. You came through, next thing you know, I think Hauser was with you.
Yeah.
You had other people with you, like I was on camera. I mean, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I brought a whole camera crew. Yeah.
And I just kind of stared at the camera and I was like, this is okay. Like I knew you from your reality TV show days.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this guy's still at it. This is awesome. And I just, I didn't judge. I just went along with it. I did feel a little bit like I wasn't used to just.
Dude, I have videos on my YouTube where the guards are like, what's up with all the cameras?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm here with Andrew. And they're like, we got to go get this cleared. And then they'd come back and be like, you're good. I'm like, cool, yeah.
It was awesome because ever since then, it's been like, boom, boom, boom. It just organically, we just click, click, click. And one show after another. I mean, there was a few times where, some events got a little bit bumpy and we had to like, hey, we had to talk about it.
Yeah, but they're good
but we
experiences.
Yeah,
having bumpy events are good.
Well, you know what? It's good if two people are mature enough to sit down and talk about it, because there was time where you were upset and there were times where I was upset,
Yeah.
and then we got on the phone, we hashed it out, and you know, and now this,
Yeah.
and now it just like, it's like, the interesting thing was I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm like, wow, you know, knowing you for 10 years and seeing how you've progressed and grown, it not only technically as a DJ, because you do get better, because you learn, you know, all the technical knowledge, you keep on learning more and you get better, but the spiritual side, the mental side, you know, that also is, you see it and hear it in the maturity of your music and your mixes and your, you know, and just your presence on stage. And, you know, that's something that, I'm gonna say it, that's something that a new DJ can't do.
I know, but you're in the same boat. I mean, look where you've gone, and you've gotten way more experience than me with headlining major events and doing Omnia in Vegas and opening for Armin van Buuren. I mean, you got to think like, you know, it's been awesome to watch you and where you've taken you as a DJ, especially you haven't stopped. I've had moments where I've kind of
Totally.
like, I didn't stop, but I kind of pulled out. You've been in this the whole motherfucking time.
It was,
and it's not easy.
Yeah.
So it's super admirable.
Not easy is an understatement.
You know, you're like our hero of Orange County. That we're like, yes, somebody did it.
Dude,
somebody's doing it. You know.
I'm really, really appreciative of it. I did hit a wall. I did hit a limit, and that's when I was like, I needed to dig really, really fucking deep, and that's when I realized, dude, I need everybody. This has to be about we.
It's true.
So,
you have so much support. You know, when people come to your shows, you have a lot of people, and you have me included, and we all are in it together. You know, and
exactly.
It's about building that, and that's why I'm excited to do Electronic Generation together, because you know the baby boomers had their generation, and I think there are baby boomers that are still part of Electronic Generation. But I feel that I don't like generation like Y, X, and then millennials.
Totally.
Like, right? It's
right.
They that all doesn't make sense to me. I'm like,
it's fragmented.
And I know millennials that, you know, are totally on the same vibe, and I know, you know, Generation Ys like me that definitely are not even close to being a Generation Y. They're more like a millennial, or a millennial that's more like a Y. Like, it's kind of a bounce around house, you know, with our...
It's like Mac versus PC, or trans versus
It's the
house,
2000s.
Right?
It basically generation, you know, or Electronic Generation is like the beginning. It's like representing the 2000s. It's representing what being a millennial... I don't believe that term millennial is meant for young people. I think it's more of like, I think Electronic Generation describes it better. Like one who's connected with wit, humor, everything, media, music, you know, with the world, like electric in it, you know, like I'm in it, I'm part of it, you know, like rising up into, you know, now I sound like, you know, I'm some fascist, like, Electronic Generation. But, you know, it is that kind of vibe.
You know, it's that vibe. It's, you know, here's the thing. I recently, I think I told you about this. I recently read the autobiography of Steve Jobs, and he's a 60s kid. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he invented, he's the father of, you know, the modern day personal computer. Yeah. And dude, in his book, you know, he was a fucking, like, he was a rebel and a suit. I mean, like, he was both. He was a revolutionist. I mean, he went out there, he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do my own thing. This is how, you know, I'm gonna influence the world. I have a message, you know, I'm gonna put that message out there. And what blew me away was, I'm like, wow, you know, this goes further back. For the longest time, I thought I was alone. And I think all of us at some point think that. But now, especially with you, and again, just kind of rounding back and, you know, kind of finishing this whole thing, you're a successful fucking entrepreneur, a bottom line. What you've built is amazing, especially with your own two bare fucking hands. with you know.
And like 12 computers.
Exactly. But you did not. You know what? You didn't do this by punching in a time clock. No offense, I punched in a time clock. You know, I did that.
I know. We actually just got some equipment from a place that you used to work for a decade.
Yeah,
Literally.
Right. So I've worked for several companies: Yamaha, PSSL, Fry's, a lot of electronic companies.
We were talking about Sam. What was it? Good Guys, like Circuit City days. Just like stuff like that. I mean, it's like
I totally identify with all of that. It took me a while to detach from just working for somebody, working for the man, and being part of this system, being part of the matrix, to doing my own thing. And I was doing, music freed me and helped me detach from that. And the more of a free thinker I became, the more I realized what, quote unquote, thinking out of the box and doing your own thing was.
Yeah.
You've been doing, and you've been doing it for like 10 years, and I've watched your webinars. I know you personally, and I've gotten to know you even more and more in the past 3 years and past 3 months. What do you attribute all that to? Like how just so many people want that
everybody wants that life that.
Yeah.
For me, I'll be honest, I got caught up in the whole celebrity thing, right? Like I wanted to be a celebrity, like I think a lot of people do. And I was like, MTV was my big.
Totally.
And so I went on MTV in 2005 and 2006. And then once I got the buzz of being on reality TV, it was a reality show thing. And then working a normal job and being like, I need to take like 5 days off because I'm going on a TV shoot. My boss was cool at the time, but then the next one was like, really? like you can't, what do you want to be here? And then so I went for the Hollywood typical actor route.
Right.
And when then I was going there, I'm like, you're still working for the man.
Right.
They're telling you, like, it was embarrassing. They'd be like, will you take off your shirt right now and get down into your boxers? I'm like, isn't this a beer commercial? Like, yeah, but it's like I felt kind of degraded, and it didn't feel like this isn't my creative expression or how I would express myself. I'm not a underwear kind of walk around guy with a beer in my hand.
It just didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. So I remember my whole family, even at the time, were like, you need to get a job.
Totally.
Because I kind of stopped.
Same here. Right here.
And everybody's against you at that point when you go, I'm going to go for it. And for me, it was like, I'm going to spread my message however it's going to be. And yeah, it's been 10 years. And
well, what's that thing? What's that core thing that,
It's just the wanting to express myself the way I want to be expressed. It isn't about the money. It's not even about the money, like,
there you go.
or anything, because it's like I just want to express myself the way that I want to. I think that's the way the founding fathers of America were too. Like, we want to live our life the way we want to. Right, so for them it was like, okay, fuck you, Britain. We're going,
Totally.
we're going to war if you're not going to let us have our own way of living the way we want to live. It kind of goes to a do or die, survival, animalistic thing, and I think one of the reasons why you and I came together to create Electronic Generation, it's more than the content we're going to give out to people about and talk about it, but to also give people ways to find a way to find that what we're talking about, to create the life they want on their own.
Absolutely.
And especially more geared towards this kind of lifestyle, which I think a lot of people really want, because you can create your own business, right? Like anybody can. Like the guy next door, he's got a crazy business where he does handwritten letters. Your business can actually send handwritten letters to all your customers. He does amazing, like tens of millions of dollars next door to me. And he does a business where it's like handwritten letters. And you know what? You can create crazy ideas and stuff. But when it comes to this electronic world, the music, the media, the cameras, the social media, there's a little bit of excitement that people want to know how to get into that. And that's what I think we're going to be offering.
You know what? Here's the thing. And this is the last thing. We're going to wrap this up. But I know a lot, and you probably do too. We know a lot of people that have a lot of money, that are very wealthy, but they are,
they're
right? They're not happy.
Well, we're seeing it in the world right now. This is controversial, but those guys who do have a lot of money and stuff, like, or girls or whoever, like, they're kind of they don't know how to be happy, so they seek it in some really dark ways. And we're seeing that in the world, or they do it to other people, or you know.
And I think this is why this works. I think this is why this union, and I'm not talking about just you and me. I'm talking about people out there that are listening and watching. You know, they are connected to us. They are involved with us because everybody is. This is about happiness.
Yeah.
Bottom line, you know, we're expressing what makes us happy. People out there, everyone's just they want to be happy. That is the bottom. If you just follow your heart, you follow your soul, and whatever it tells you, you got to be very clear about it. Just like what you said earlier, there were a lot of tips that you gave. If people are watching this, if they can decode and decipher that, when you said it didn't feel right, when they said, you know, take off your shirt, you know, you didn't like that. That did not make you happy. Bottom line is you followed your heart, and that's what it took me a long time, and I did that too. Sometimes I still, you know, I catch myself like going against the grain, and then I snap out of it, and that's one thing that age and maturity has helped with me is you know, quickly bouncing back and figuring out what's right and wrong, and it's really simple. The compass is happiness.
Yeah.
That, you know, if you find yourself getting depressed, recalibrate, go back to the center of and what makes you happy. What makes me happy? You know, and the other thing is create a win-win situation. Always, everyone has to be winning. Everyone has to be happy. If you're happy and the other person isn't, you know, it's weird. It just catches up to you somehow. And the other way is true also. When somebody else is winning and you're not, you know, it's kind of like when the director or whoever is telling you, hey, you know what, you're on my set, you do what I do, and you're like, dude, I don't know. Yeah, I'll do it because I'm getting paid. I get it, but you're not happy, so you're not putting on your best performance.
Right. Happiness is the key to it all, and we have to learn it in so many different ways, whether it's through relationships, jobs, communication, money issues. I mean, there's so many different ways that it is, but, you know, having like support from others and like-minded people, and especially, you can kind of feel like you're alone, you know, sometimes when you go to a dinner and you meet new people, and sure, you might be nice to them, you'd be like, yeah, I did this on Facebook today or whatever, and they're like, oh, I don't use that, or I'm not into that, or, well, you listen to, electronic music? That's not real music, you know, we kind of then become outcasts in weird ways, and for a long time, I think, we're finally at the point to where we're not outcasts anymore, not only with spirituality, but mainly with dance music and electronic music and stuff. You got to remember that we dealt with for 10 more years people being like, you go to those loud raves where they play that loud racket.
Totally.
And I think that we're about to show them what it's all about.
Yeah, man. I mean, that literally we can go on and on and on. And this is all of this is electronic generation. But yeah, I mean, stay tuned because the February 12th is going to be the premiere, and we're gonna really, really dig deep in a lot of these topics and subjects, and there's a lot of stuff we're going to show you guys. So February 12th,
2018,
stay tuned.
yeah.
Right?
2018.
February 12th, 2018, exactly. So yeah, electronic generation, here we come. Get fucking ready.
Boom. All right.
Woo!
That was incredible.
What up?
I heard you guys met on
You can turn off a record.
You heard me. You heard us what?
I heard you guys met on Grindr. On Grindr.
Did you like that? When you were like, oh yeah, tell me how we met. And I'm
I know.
Grindr.
That was funny. That was too funny.
And then he put, oh no you don't. I put, it's grind time.
Dude, we could have gone on like literally.
Well, there's gonna be so many shows to do, and
That was pretty much an hour, you guys.